Sagittarius season is here. Hey, my friend, our sun, our moon, our Mercury, our Venus, our moon is almost about to be in Sagittarius, but all the other guys have moved into Sagittarius. We are in Sagittarius season. So stay tuned because in this video, we are diving into Sidereal Astrology Sagittarius season and the four things you can do. Four things you can do to maximize, to use this energy. Hey, my friend, Danny Simoni's here, your spiritual counselor, helping you find clarity on your spiritual journey. One of my favorite things to do is to help you understand, remember, return back to who you are and who you came here to be through the lens of astrology, so that we can strip away all those societal, generational, ancestral paradigms, belief systems that no longer serve who you are, and design a life that truly honors who you are and who you came here to be. Because I know you've got a mission, you've got a purpose. And so we together are here to make that happen. All right. So be sure, if you have not already, to subscribe to the channel and click that bell button, because we've got new videos coming out every single week with our astrology, sidereal astrology forecast, and videos like this talking about astrology in general and spirituality. And because we are in Sagittarius season and we've got Capricorn coming up in the middle of January, we have a very, very special invitation for you to kick off, to align, to reset, to return back to you for 2023. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So stay tuned all the way till the end and make sure you hear those four things that you can do during the season. All right, so each season has its own energy, has its own flair, has its own style. And the really beautiful thing about that is that each one allows us the opportunity to tune into that energy and use it to our advantage. So this doesn't matter whether you are a Taurus, whether you're a Cancer, whether you are a Gemini rising, whether your moon is in Aquarius, it doesn't matter. We all have this Sagittarius energy within us. And so we can use this to really amplify that energy and also heal any aspects of that energy. It's one of the reasons why I started the Heal Your Energy series and now Heal Your Energy membership, where you can come every single month and align and tune and heal, right, your zodiac energy, your natural energy over the year. So with Sagittarius, though, I want you to think about, first off, that everything has its own style and its own unique flair. So we can think of, it's very interesting. I love to work in different places. So I have my home office here, which I absolutely love being in. I have a whole little room all to myself, right? It's beautiful. I used to be in our living room. That's where my office was. But now I have my own room. I have a closet for storage. I've got a door that I can close and have some privacy, right? And the energy in this particular space, right, because it is my home office, has a certain vibe to it, right? I have my altar here. I have my crystals here. I'm able to sage the place, burn some incense, have a diffuser on. I have all my supplies, right? It has a certain energy here. Now, I sometimes need to go and work somewhere else, because although as much as I love this space, I need somewhere else to be in, right? So I like to go to the coffee shops, local coffee shops here. And in the coffee shops, each coffee shop that I go to has a different vibe, right? There's some coffee shops that I go to that are super quiet. It's really quiet in there. It's almost library status, right? It's really quiet. And some of them have a high turnover in traffic where there's a lot of people coming in and out. Some of them are more chill, not too many people, again, depending on the time of day. And then I have one, which happens to be my favorite, but is also the busiest and the noisiest, right? And so there's lots of energy. So depending on what I'm feeling that day, I might choose to go to a different coffee shop, right? Simply because I want that energy, that vibe of that particular coffee shop. I can even say that, when I want to go to the one that is a little bit more busier, right? It's because I want to use that energy. Sometimes when I go to the quiet ones, it's a little bit harder for me to focus. It's like too quiet, right? It reminds me of being at home. Like it's too quiet and I can't focus. And so I have to go to a busier place. This is so weird, right? I have to go to a busier place where there's lots of noise for me to be able to focus in. Really interesting, right? I'd invite you to take a look at that and see how you shift depending on where you're at. But that's what the different zodiac signs and the seasons are like. It's like the different vibe, the different energy of that coffee shop or the library, right? The library has its own kind of vibe. And then even in each city, right? It has its own vibe and its own energy. Even coffee shops in different cities, right? Have their own vibe. So as each season has its own energy and its own style, we can use that, as I said, as I use that energy to my advantage. When I need like the peace and quiet, then I have that. I know those coffee shops that I go to get that specific vibe. And then when I want the busier ones, I know which ones to go to. So this is the energetic signature that we can use to our advantage to support us on our journey, to support us towards our goals, support us in our work, to support us in our healing. So what is Sagittarius season? What is the zodiac sign, right? What does that energy mean? Maybe you don't know anything about Sagittarius. Maybe you're like, I don't think Sagittarius is one of my big three. Like, not really sure what Sagittarius season is. So you might know a Sagittarius, right? And be like, is that like that? So yes and no. So Sagittarius season in Sidereal Astrology in 2022, because again, remember Sidereal Astrology, we look at what is actually, well, hello, big boy. Jake the pug wants to come say hi. We look at what is actually happening in our sky at this time, where in tropical astrology, we look at fixed dates, right? So it's always between this date and this date. In sidereal astrology, we look at it slightly different, right? And so we're looking at the period for 2022, where it is going to be from December 17th through January 13th. So those entire time frame from December 17th to January 13th, we will be in the energy. Our sun will be transiting through the part of the sky that Sagittarius rules. So it's kind of like we entered that particular coffee shop or that particular state, right? You can even look at states or that particular city, right? If we're looking at the map, we're going to that particular area for the next few weeks. And so when we're in that area, we can use that to our advantage. So first off, Sagittarius is a fire sign. And a fire sign is an action-oriented sign. It's a very physical sign. I often, when we're working with a fire energy, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of moving of energy, moving of things. And most of the time, it's our physical body that is being moved. Just like with our water signs, there's a lot of emotional energy being moved. With our air signs, it's a lot of mental energy being moved. So with this fire energy, we are looking at movement with our body, both physical movement and both energetic movement, action. Okay, so I want you to think of that. Number two, it is a mutable sign, which means it's adaptable. It can go with the flow. It can work with the energy that it is given. Okay, so this may, where in Scorpio season, the last season we were just in, the last month, right? It was fixed. And so it could have felt very stuck, right? It could have felt very pointed, very focused in a way. Now, not that Sagittarius isn't, because Sagittarius is very much known for being focused, but Scorpio got really fixed and settled in. Sagittarius isn't that way. It is more adaptable. It is more able to move through things, okay? Which is really nice, because we can start moving that energy, right? That we were experiencing in Scorpio. Now, it is also ruled by the planet Jupiter. And the planet Jupiter is about growth and expansion. Okay. It is about testing the limits. So, all the energy that we see with our Jupiter, we're going to see with Sagittarius as well. Okay. And Jupiter rules the ninth house, which is the house of Sagittarius. So we've got all this really beautiful energy of this growth and expansion, and a lot of like higher education and higher learning, deeper knowledge. Okay. So some of the key words that we see here with Sagittarius is expansion, growth, adventure, travel, and we're talking foreign travel. So we're talking a very like knowledge of something outside of us, something more than what we're used to. So when we look at travel with Sagittarius, it's like another country. This is also freedom. Sagittarius seeks freedom. It wants to just be free to go do what it's focused on doing, right? It's, if we look at the symbol, right? It's an arrow, right? It's the bow and arrow. And so once it knows where its focal point is, where it's going, it lasers in and just goes straight to that. But if you also think of that bow and arrow, it travels, right? It goes somewhere. So this energy is moving, right? Not only physically moving, but it also is energetically moving towards something. And so that could be because we're looking for a new perspective. We're looking for how we can grow, how we can push past our boundaries. Jupiter and Sagittarius energy are very much about expanding the limits, where Capricorn wants us to be aware of what our boundaries are. Sagittarius is like, how can I test that? How can I push that out a little bit more? And so there's a bit of a testing here. So you may even find yourself like pushing past your boundaries, or wanting to push past your boundaries, or noticing your boundaries and being like, you're done. We need to expand this out. We need to grow this out. So if you're somebody who is looking for some growth, who is looking for some expansion, right? Maybe this is in your work, in your business, in your career, and you're looking to kind of grow, right? This is why we often associate Sagittarius or this time of the year with goals, because we're looking at like, oh, how can I grow this year? How can I expand this year? Like our thinking, right, is in that energy. And Mercury, who rules our thinking, is in this energy right now. So this learning is a deeper learning, or deeper, a higher learning that we're seeking. It's knowing that there's something beyond us. Now, it's often associated with religion. And although that is 100% true, I would also say it's also seeking, because we've kind of got some things in Scorpio, where Scorpio likes to pull back the veil, right? It likes to look beyond, which is why we see a lot of association with the occult with Scorpio energy. It's like taking that energy, taking that understanding, like learning about like what's behind the veil and elevating it, right? Elevating that information. Okay. So this is a really, really beautiful time. Now, let me break down really quick where a few of our planets are, because we do have, each planet does rule a certain aspect of our life. And so when we look at it as this whole, in what Sagittarius season is all about, looking at where everybody's at, can kind of give us some deeper insights into maybe what we personally want to use this energy for. So Mars, who happens to rule our motivation, our drive, our will, is still retrograde, and it is retrograde in Taurus. So this really is, there's been a lot of slowing down and taking it easy. It's like stop and smell the roses, right? Taurus is a stop and smell the roses type energy. It's an earth sign, so it's very in tune with nature and the senses. So it's like slowing things down. Taurus does not like to be rushed. It wants to go at its own pace, its own speed. And so Mars, who is a very like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's get this going. I need to complete this. Like, I need to check this off my list. Taurus is like, yeah, not feeling it today. I'm going to chill out a bit. And so it's been slowing us down, and we've been here for a while now. So we're going to be here a little bit longer. We're almost out of it, but we are currently in this Taurus retrograde season. Now, when it does go direct, there's going to feel a little bit more of a movement, but it is still going to be a little bit slow and steady, because that's the Taurus way. So Mercury is in Sagittarius, and it's been in Sagittarius since the beginning of the month on December 3rd. Now, Mercury is going retrograde. The end of the year on the 30th, Mercury is going retrograde. So that is going to change things up a little bit, because we will have Mars and Mercury in retrograde, which I'll do a whole video on this, but let me just tell you, retrogrades are simply a time for us to go within. It's time for us to reevaluate, to reflect. And so Mercury is going to be going into retrograde in Sagittarius on the 30th of December, and it will be there through basically all through the rest of Sagittarius season. And then it will still be in Sagittarius for a bit before it actually moves into Capricorn. So Mercury's going to be in this kind of area of this growth and expansion, but then we're going to take that internal for a bit, which is going to be a really good time for us to do some belief systems changing, some of that societal, generational, ancestral paradigms that I love to talk about and do a lot of healing work with my clients around. This is a really good time to work on that kind of stuff. I'm really excited for that. And then we've got Venus, who is currently in Sagittarius as well. It's been in there since the 5th of the month, and it will be moving into Capricorn on the 31st of the month. So the day after Mercury goes retrograde, Venus moves into Capricorn, and that Venus rules our love, our like beauty, art, our money. And so that is going to shift a bit from spend to, all right, let's bring that money back in. Let's organize it. Let's get a plan for our money. How are we going to generate money this year? Like it's a lot more focused on the plan of action that we're wanting to do. So I would say take this next week or so and just maybe even vision like how much money do you want to make? What are the streams of income you want? Because you should never have one, my friend. You should never have one. Even if you are in a career right now that you absolutely love, you should always have a second source of income, minimum a second source of income. I should do a video about that, but I learned that in 2008 when I was working in the financial industry, when the housing market was craziness and people were losing their jobs. There's a lot of talk within our economy. I don't want to get into that, but I'm just saying like a second income is always important. You should always have another stream of income coming in. So this might be a time for you to look at that, right? And to see if that's a good opportunity for you and find something maybe that is a good opportunity that resonates with you. All right, so that is our Sagittarius energy. That's where everybody is right now. I tell you all that so you have that information, so you can empower yourself to see what you may be already thinking about, the things that you could be doing. I do have 4 things I want to share with you that I really, really believe are the things that are best for this particular season. So number 1 is vision for your new year. Create a vision board, do some daydreaming, allow yourself, man, go back to when you were a kid and you used to daydream. It's one of the best things that we can do. Allow your mind, right, to be open and to play and to explore. Sagittarius, especially with Mercury being in there right now and then it going into retrograde, really good time for us to do a lot of visioning over this time and reflecting on the past year. So once Mercury goes into retrograde, I would 100% take the next week or 2 weeks and really do do some solid reflection. I do have an opportunity to do a really good reflection that we're going to do in our Reflect and Align retreat in January. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but that is coming. There'll be a link in the description to tell you a little bit more about that, but that we will do a really good reflection, which I believe is one of the number one things you must do before you set goals for your new year. And we don't set goals until Capricorn season. Okay. So you've got a little bit of time. Don't worry about it. Number 2, seek adventure. Seek adventure. And I want you to reframe how you're seeing adventure, because oftentimes we're like, oh, I got to go on a trip, or oh, I got to go do this thing, right? For it to be an adventure. And I want you to ask yourself, how can the mundane, how can the day-to-day, how can your day-to-day activities, right, be adventurous? How can we come from the energy of adventure? Now, if you can go and have yourself a little adventure, by all means, go and do it. But if you're not able to do that, maybe you don't have the time to do it, or you're like, you haven't planned it out yet, how can you make the mundane, how can you make your day-to-day activities adventurous? How can you approach going to the coffee shop as being an adventure? How can you go to the dog park as being an adventure, right? How can you approach these things? Cleaning your house, how can that be an adventure? Now, you can also travel, like I said, even local travel would still be good. And so you don't have to go far. You can do like a day, an hour away, go explore a new city, but this energy is really allowing yourself to open up your perspective. So take the opportunity. Or even plan your vacation. Plan your vacation for maybe during summer or towards the end of the year, or maybe next year, right? Planning that next vacation would be a really good time as well. The third thing is to learn, to open yourself up to knowledge. So this is not the how. So we're not looking at, I don't want you to think of the learning of, I need to learn the thing. I need to learn how to do the thing. I want you to think about the why. I want you to think about the deeper knowledge of the thing that you want to learn. Why is it that I want to learn this? Why is it that I want to explore this? What is it about that that's going to serve me, right? Thinking about it from a higher perspective, a deeper knowledge of self, whether that's learning more about your personality, learning about yourself through astrology, your values, your belief systems. It's that deeper knowledge of self. And then even spiritual practices. Maybe you're learning about the spiritual practices that work for you, that are best for you. Because again, remember, we've got a lot of that spirituality and religion within the Sagittarius energy. And then number 4, and it goes very much hand to hand with number 3, which was the learning, but the growth. Number 4 is growth. Be open to growing and expanding. Be open to allowing yourself to new perspectives, to new opportunities. Jupiter, who rules Sagittarius, is the luckiest planet. It is our sign of luck. Where we see Jupiter on our chart is our easiest place for luck. And so we can be open to being lucky, be open to things coming to you, be open to opportunities. And when I say that, it may not come as you think. It may not come in the way that you want it to come. Okay, so be open to receiving, be open to expanding your energy, and be open to expanding your influence. All right, my friend, those are the 4 things that you can do this Sagittarius season. Number 1 was to vision. Number 2 was to seek adventure, even in the mundane. Number 3 was to learn. And number 4 was to grow. Now, if you are ready to reset and align for this coming year, for 2023, I want to invite you to come join me virtually for the Reset and Aligned retreat happening January 12th to the 14th, where we are going to do that deep dive reflection on this past year so that we can pull out all the goodness. We're going to look at aligning, right, our mental, our physical, our spiritual, and our emotional bodies first before we create our goals for 2023. So we're going to get ourselves all in alignment first so that we can get ready and be prepared to set our goals and achieve our goals in 2023. I have a really beautiful process that I use. I've been doing this for over 6 years now with people, with my clients, right? But I'm also have been doing this for myself for about 12, 15 years, maybe. It's been a bit. So it's a process I use every single year. There's a vision board. We're going to be doing it. So if you've been thinking about doing a vision board, we're definitely going to do that. So click the link down if you want to learn more about that in the comment, the description. Yeah, the description box down below. All right, my friend, that is it. I can't wait to see you in our next video and hopefully at our Reset and Align retreat. Remember to hit that subscribe button and check out another video here on the channel. And then we'll be back with another video for our Sidereal Astrology forecast to give you a look at what the last week of this year is going to be. As always, my friend, remember, close your eyes and take a deep breath with me. And find peace.